We are here to talk about the Bureau XCOM Declassified, and you are watching Connected Digital World.
Marin recently announced the Bureau XCOM Declassified, the latest in the XCOM series of games. This particular one's set in 1962, and we recently had the opportunity to play a little bit of the game and also talk to Alyssa Finley. Over to Alyssa.
Hi, so would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name's Alyssa Finley, and I'm the Vice President of Product Development at 2K Marin.
Great, so we're here today to look at the Bureau XCOM Declassified. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
I would love to. The Bureau XCOM Declassified is basically the origin story of the XCOM how XCOM organization came to be. If every other XCOM game has been set in the near future, whether that's 1999 or 2013 and beyond, this one's set in the past. We were looking at what series of events could have happened to, if they're in the first alien invasion on Earth, and people had to figure out how to stop it in real time, how to react to a previously unknown and extremely dangerous threat. What would they do? How would they do it? How would we get there? So that's the story we're exploring in our game.
So what was the choice for going for an origin story this time, rather than one maybe set after the last game?
Well, basically we thought it was a place that we hadn't really explored at all in the XCOM universe, and it lets you really look back at a more personal story, a story of, you can really tell a narrative about the game. XCOM isn't a game that's been known for narrative because so much of it is what the player brings to the party. My agent, my agent who I named after my best friend, did this heroic thing. Here we're trying to say, we're trying to really explore a more fleshed out story of how it could all have come to be.
So it's obviously set in 1962. JFK sets up the Bureau for stopping Russian invasions, and obviously it's not Russian. So we joined the game pretty much when the Bureau's been retitled.
Exactly. The Bureau discovers that some of these infiltrations in the U.S. aren't at all of foreign origin but of alien origin, and they have to quickly adapt and figure out how to deal with and stop these incidents in real time, and how to cover them up to make sure that no one should ever know what happened, how close we actually came to a full-scale alien invasion.
So our primary character is called Carter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about him?
William Carter is an ex-military, ex-intelligence guy. He is actually a bit down on his luck. He's been on a really a bad run for a while, and he happens to be on a mission delivering a package to the place that turns out to be ground zero for an alien invasion. And so he's basically there on the ground floor of the creation of XCOM, picks up a team of agents and starts fighting these guys, and it turns out that this is the best tactic we have. The three men working together can, using tactics and using the tools and working together, can have the best shot at stopping this alien threat.
Cool. So there are different types of agents in the game. Do you want to tell us a little bit about each of them?
Yeah, there are 4 types of agents in the Bureau XCOM Declassified. There is the engineer, the commando, the support class, and the recon agent. The engineer brings gadgets onto the battlefield, things like mines and turrets. The support class is kind of a buffer guy. He can buff up the team and make the rest of the team stronger. The recon's, he's sort of the sniper guy. He has the ability. He does a lot of good distance fighting, and the commando is great at. He's a good all-around soldier, and he has a lot of tactical abilities that can help pull enemies out of cover or take care of them quickly when they're in cover.
And obviously you can choose whichever type of agent you want to take with you, both at the start of the mission and in the mission.
Yep, you have the ability to customize the team you take with you, both at the start, and then there are resupply stations over the course of the mission where you can go in, reconfigure your team, and get new weapons, and make sure that you are the best prepared for the threat at hand.
I'm over here! Come get
Let's talk a little bit about the missions. There are a number of different types of mission during the game. Do you want to talk a little bit about each?
So in XCOM, we have several types of missions, including minor operations, which are optional missions that you and your team can go on to both gain additional experience and ranks, and potentially get additional intel and move the course of the war forward. There's also dispatch missions, which you can send agents out on the agents that aren't going with you out onto the field. You can send the agents out to get additional ranks and experience. There's news from the front, which basically just gives you an overall picture of what's going on across the nationwide map. And then there's major operations. Those are the major plot chapters that move the story forward.
So you do have the choice of not playing some of the side missions. Not that you wouldn't want to, because obviously it's part of the game. But if you didn't play the side missions, it doesn't affect the overall story.
That's correct. The side missions are there optionally, and as the field commander, you have a choice of what you think is most important, what objectives you think are most important to pursue in order to move the global war forward, and you can make that choice.
So talking of choices in story, XCOM itself is well known for things happening in the game that will affect the story in the game, or losing characters.
Yes.
So do you want to talk a little bit about in this one?
Well, over the course of the game, you build up your team of agents, and you'll probably build a couple of guys that you really like taking along with you on missions. If in the course of a mission one of your agents gets hurt, they'll go down, and you have a brief chance to stabilize them on the gameplay field. And if you're positioned tactically and you've been playing carefully, you'll probably be able to do that, bring him back up, and go. However, if you let him die in the field, that agent's gone forever. And so somebody who you've spent quite a bit of time with and put quite a bit of energy over the course of the game is no longer available to you, even for the course of the battle, but also for the course of the war. So the consequences of your choices and skillful play will reward the player, and if you're not careful, you might lose your advantage. You might lose your ability to actually be able to win the total war.
So this game is a very good mixture of both first-person shooter and strategy. What was the reasoning behind doing a bit of both? Because I think it's a really good idea, but you're going to get sort of some people who go, I would have preferred just a pure first-person shooter, and other people that say, well, I prefer the pure strategy. So
yeah, well, we kept the principles that we kept looking at over the course of development, the things that we think are absolutely core to the XCOM franchise, are things like tactics, tools, team, terror, and tension. And we felt that it was really critically important to have the team be a part of the gameplay. If in a game like XCOM Enemy Unknown, you're kind of you're the commander, and you see the ultimate battlefield, and you can position everyone on there, but you don't really have stakes in the game yourself other than the guys that are there. In our game, you're on the field too. You've got bullets whizzing by your head. You're responsible for building a plan for your team in real time and making sure that plan is the best one available to take on whatever the enemy is throwing at you.
Almost got it down! Closing in! Orders! You're holding that in! Get down! On the move! Force them out! Deploy and scatter! Hand grenade! Stay there! They're holding the line! That's a kill!
So talking of which, battle focus mode is what enables you in the middle of the game to make decisions and to order your men to do certain things. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Right, so in battle focus mode, you have the ability to pull back from the battlefield in real time. It slows down time a little, kind of like what they say on the battlefield. You still feel like you've got bullets whizzing by your head, but you have that feeling of slowed down. Okay, everything I do matters right now. And in that mode, you can make complicated multi-step plans for you and your agents to execute out on the field. That can be like, I want you to go here, I want you to target this guy, and then I want you to use that ability. Meanwhile, I'll look around, find a high priority threat, target my other agent against that threat to make sure that we're taking the most tactical advantage of the battlefield and coordinating our efforts in real time.
We've noticed during the gameplay today that each of the characters have got a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned they were customizable. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the backpacks, why they're customizable, and what sort of things we can do?
Yeah, so over the course of the game, you actually find schematics for these backpacks throughout the missions. And when you bring those back, your team of scientists at the XCOM base are able to turn those into a technology that you can take out that are essentially kind of passive buffs for the player. It allows you to do things like you could say, I would like to take the sniper backpack out, and that'll increase my targeting in the field. Or you might take a backpack that can allow you to have you or one of your agents to take more damage. So it's another way that you can customize your playing experience and make sure that you have the best advantage for the way that you want to play.
Excellent. And talking of other customizations, obviously you can change clothes and all things like that. Are you able to change the character names like you could?
Absolutely. You can name one after me and one after you, and we'll see how we do.
And then you can have all the sad part when one of the characters dies, and then you can see on Twitter people talking about it.
Exactly.
So there's a pre-order bonus for the game called Codebreakers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys planning any other sorts of pre-order bonuses or any other DLC? I noticed on the menu this morning there was a downloadable option.
Yeah. Well,
is there anything you can talk about at the moment?
the only one I can talk about at the moment is that Codebreakers DLC. That is an additional side mission that you and your team can explore over the course of the game if you choose to, if you go ahead and pre-order.
They're holding that area! Damn it, shields are up! Watch out! They're pushing! What do we do? Commander!
What's the fan reaction been to this particular game?
I think we have gotten a lot of feedback from the fans over the course of development, just concerned that our game is XCOM enough. And frankly, that is a concern that we have always been very aware of on the team as well. If anything, we're our own worst critics. And we constantly go back to those core principles that we believe make an XCOM game. The idea of team, the idea of tactics, of using the enemy's weapons against them, of having a base of operations where you go back to from which the war is run. We've tried to make sure that we're really hitting those core tenets, and every evolution of the game, we've tried to make sure there's more of that there, so that people feel when they actually get their hands on our game and can try it out, they say, yes, this absolutely is this is an XCOM game.
Excellent. And obviously this particular game's been in development for quite a long time. So what's probably been the hardest challenge for you guys on this particular title?
Oh, I think Battle Focus has absolutely been the challenge of trying to make sure the player feels like they've got the tactical awareness they need for their team. They can actually build a plan in real time and have that plan be effective and be, If there's one thing that's really important to us in our game, it's that the player has to feel like they need to bring their skill to the battlefield in order to succeed. This is not a run and gun Rambo kind of game. It's not a Twitch game. It's a game about tactical planning, about choices, and about consequences. And we really want players to feel that they have brought their best to our game, that they've been challenged, and that the choices they made have actually been able to alter the course of this overall war.
And what's the release date for the game?
We're going to be out on August 23rd in the UK and August 20th in the US.
And what are the formats?
The formats are for PlayStation 3 and for Xbox 360 and of course for PC.
Perfect. So what's next for XCOM then, after this?
Oh, I wish I could tell you.
Perfect. Great, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you.